Hey everybody, Rodney May Wander here, and this is the first of hopefully many videos from a new series that I'm calling Challenges from the Challenger. I drive a Challenger, and I have a pretty long commute, and I thought, I should take what I've been teaching and teach what I've been mentoring people and counseling really for the last 20 years and using my time wisely and put it into this video format. I'm going to upload it to YouTube and across my different social media and that sort of thing. And because I drive a Challenger, at least during the winter, I drive a Challenger in the winter. I like cars, I always have, but more on that later. But to get that out of the way, this is a 2018 Dodge Challenger GT. It is the 3.6 V6, so no, it's not the Hellcat or the Scat Pack or the SRT, but the GT, you can get it with the winter package, and I'm in Michigan, and it's all-wheel drive, and so it works really well for that, and it's automatic. So I was just kind of trying to think, what could I do? How could I reach another group of people on a different platform? And my son, who actually is 18, he's like, Dad, you need to do something on social media more. You need to get on YouTube, do a podcast or something. And I've done a podcast. I wrote a book, but I've never really done this kind of thing where I'm just talking and teaching and challenging in this format. So my plan is to do this just while I'm driving and just kind of unload things that have helped me, things that I have learned, things that I've seen other people be helped with, that sort of thing, while I'm driving. And so that's exactly what I'm doing. So I guess a little intro to who I am, being this is my first video, and I'll upload this to YouTube. So my name is Rodney, my last name is May, and I kind of got the nickname Wander just because I've wandered all over, basically. I grew up, I'm here in Michigan now. This is where I was born, this is where I was raised, but in my 20s, I moved to North Carolina. From North Carolina, after 6 years there, I wandered up to the great state of Alaska and was in Alaska for 7 years. And now after 16 years of wandering around Michigan and North Carolina and Alaska, I'm back now in West Michigan where I was brought up. Currently, I'm about a half an hour from the town where I spent all of my childhood. So that's where the nickname Wander comes from. So kind of a play on words, Rodney May Wander. So like I might wander, but it's also my last name, Rodney May Wander. Anyway, so that's where that comes from. But yeah, for the last 20 years, I've been trying to find ways to just help people, invest in people. That's where I got my degrees from. So to get the formalities kind of out of the way, I have 3 different degrees. I have an associate's in biblical studies. I have a BA in Bible with a minor in counseling, and then I have a master's degree in counseling. And I have been a youth pastor for a number of years. I was a head counselor at a large church in North Carolina for about 4 years, senior pastor, and I currently am a counselor slash therapist slash mentor for teenage boys who have been court ordered in placement. So if you don't know what that means, placement, it's like juvenile detention, but where I am at is it's non-secured, which means there's no bars on the windows, there's no cells. This is a placement, it's a treatment center for delinquent teenage boys who have gotten in trouble with the law. Typically they have issues at home. Some have been abandoned by their families, and some just have gotten into so much trouble that being out in normal society is not working for them right now. So part of my job is to invest in these boys, teach them, mentor them, counsel them, and also try to get their families reconnected and plugged in with them in their lives. And so I really enjoyed that. That's what I'm doing currently. I also do challenge and motivational speaking. I have a website, rodneymaywander.com. If you're welcome to check that out if you'd like to. And then I do have a book that is available on Amazon. It's called Wander Trust, and you can look that up with my name if you so care to do that. So as far as, I'll get more into my life later on. I actually did a I did an inventory of the last 20 years of my life. I turned 41 just this last December here, and so I kind of asked myself, what have I done with my last 20 years, from basically adulthood on to where I am today? And and it was a little scary. I was like, ugh, because I want to accomplish a lot, and I want to do things, and I want to move forward, and I want to progress. And so I was a little afraid at first to do this inventory, but I came up with, it was a pretty good list of things that I've accomplished and that sort of thing. And so I will share some of that with you, not in any way to gloat or to be prideful or any way like that, but just to encourage and maybe to motivate you all if you are in your 20s or 30s or even beyond, and you have dreams or goals or ambitions. I could maybe give some insight or some challenge or some motivation for you to achieve what it is you're designed for and why you were put on this earth. I guess one thing that I would like to start out by talking about is something that has motivated me for many years of my life. I'll tell you a little story. So my son, he's now 18, but when he was 6 or 7 years old and he was in elementary school, one of the things that I would do in the afternoon is I would go and I'd pick him up from school, from elementary school. And I remember I was at a yard sale once, and I found this CD, and it was just in a box of random junk, and it was a motivational CD. It was something about success, and it was like 25 cents or something. And I thought, well, golly, for 25 cents, I'm going to go ahead and give it a whirl. And so while I'm waiting for my son to be dismissed from his elementary school, I'm waiting out in the parking lot. I popped this CD in, and I'm starting to listen to it. Y'all know what CDs are still? I feel like a lot of this younger generation, they don't even know what CDs are. Anyway, but I was listening to a CD in my car. Yes, they had cars that had built-in CD players. Anyway, so this guy, he comes, I don't remember who it was. I don't have the CD anymore. I have no clue. If you know who it is, just by who I'm talking about and what they said, maybe that'd be helpful, but I have no idea. This was, it was 14, 15 years ago. So the first thing he says is, the first thing I want you to know, if you forget everything else from this spiel I'm going to give, he says on the CD, he says, this is one thing I want you to know. Don't ever shut the dream factory down. Don't ever shut the dream factory down. And I was like, and I'm in my mid-20s at this point. And he says, a lot of people, when they get out of high school, they go to college, they kind of get in a routine. They start to just make money, they start to pay their bills, they get an apartment or a house or whatever, and the dreams of their youth, the dreams of their adolescence goes to the wayside, and they'll shut the dream factory down. He says, and this is an older gentleman that was speaking, he said, don't ever shut the dream factory down. He says, I don't care if you're 20, if you're 40, if you're 60, if you're 80. He says, you have something in you. You have something to offer this world that has not been offered before in the way that you can offer it. I thought, golly, that's really good. That's motivating. It made me feel like I have something to offer, and maybe I can't reinvent the wheel, but maybe I can offer the wheel in a different way, in only the way that Rodney can. So I started to think about that, and it really stuck with me. this dream factory. And here I'm 41 years old, and I have really seen some of my dreams already come to fruition. It's really neat to think about it. When I was doing that kind of life inventory, what have I done, what things have I accomplished, kind of things, they simply started out as just these little dreams, these little, I wonder if I could do this, or I wonder if I could do that, or what would it look like if I actually committed to something and moved forward with something. Could I actually accomplish that thing? I have so many people that I'll talk to, and they have good ideas, great ideas. Maybe it's a book, or maybe it's a movie, or maybe it's a story, or maybe it's a new way of doing something, or maybe it's maybe it is a new invention, or maybe it's even a philosophy, or a twist on something that might fit people's psyches a little more. I don't know, but I meet people that have these great ideas, and they'll talk about it. And you know what they usually will say? I should do this. I should do that. I should pursue this. I should pursue that. And I'll kind of come alongside them, and I'll say, yeah, you're right. You should do that. You should move forward with that. And then a lot of times you can almost see it kind of come over their face with a, yeah, but not right now. Yeah, but this, or yeah, but that, or finances this, or life phase that, or my kids, or my spouse, or what I really think they're actually saying. I think they're actually saying is they're actually saying, what if I don't have what it takes? I think that's really what I've seen, especially in young men, when I'm talking with them. They have this idea, and they'll get all excited about this idea, and then they'll say, yeah, but what if this, and what if that, and you can see this fear come over them. And I hear all these things that they say. I don't have this resource, I don't have this education, I don't know what's going to happen here, what if this bad thing happens? And what I really hear them saying is, I don't know that if I have what it takes to accomplish this thing. And I get that. I feel that. I know what that fear is. So here's how I've combated it, and here's how I would like to challenge those people, men or women, and whoever's listening to this. What's the next step? Just the next step. If you were going to pursue it, let's just pretend hypothetically for a minute. If you were going to pursue whatever that dream is, whatever that goal is, whatever that thing is that you've been thinking about, forget the end goal for a minute. Forget the final thing exactly the way that you want it to be. Forget the 10 steps ahead. What is that very next step? What is the next thing that you need to do? And maybe you don't know. Okay, great. Well, you just figured out your next step. I got to figure out what's my first step. That's your first step. This is how I built my house in Alaska. So in Alaska, I was in the middle of the state, the Arctic, literally 40 below zero at times, literally 3.5, maybe 4 hours of daylight in the middle of the winter. And I decide, because I guess maybe I'm a glutton for punishment, I decide I'm not going to buy a house. I'm not going to rent a house. Nah. I'm going to build a house. And not just any house. I'm going to build a 2,000 square foot, 4-bedroom, 2.5 bath, vaulted ceiling, big deck on the back, with a view overlooking the valley house. I've never built a house before. The closest thing that I ever came close to building a house was when I was a kid. I used to build forts with my best friend Brian. We'd go out in the woods, we'd go in the backyard, and we'd find stuff. We'd find junk that our families had laying around, or we'd find big long branches and little trees, and we'd cut them down and whatever. And we'd build forts. I remember one fort we built was made out of, the primary part was made out of a truck topper. You know, those aluminum old 80s toppers that go on the back of pickup trucks. That was like our roof and part of our walls, and we built that thing up. We had little seats in there, and I don't know why, it was just a thing. It was just a thing we did. It was before the internet. So I never built a house before. If I was going to build a house, if I looked at all the steps, if I demanded that I knew steps 1 through 100, it would have never happened. I would have quit before I started, because I don't know what steps 1 through 3 is, let alone steps 1 through 100, and there's a lot more steps than 100 in building a house. And the challenges that I had to face with building a house in the winter in Alaska, what's happening? Why would anyone decide to do that? And it wasn't some like, you know, macho challenge, or I'm a man, I can do it. I wanted to, and I could see it though. I didn't know exactly what it was going to look like. I had an idea, I had plans, blueprints, but I could see it in my mind. Even before I put one board down, even before I laid the foundation, in my mind I could have at least somewhat envision it. Now, in between breaking ground and moving in, and that envisionment coming true, boy, I tell you, there's a lot of steps in between there. So my point is, if you have a dream, if you have something you want to accomplish, just start moving forward. When I was building the house, I just had to say, I want to do this. What's my first step? I don't know what my first step was. So I talked to other builders. I talked to people who had built in Alaska. I said, hey, I want to build a house. What do I do first? Oh, well, let me tell you. Here's what financing. Get that lined up. Get that lined up. Now you need to break ground. Here's how you do that. You go rent an excavator from this company over here. Oh, great. Thanks for telling me what my first steps were, 1 and 2. All right. And then you just keep going from there. I didn't know how to do plumbing. I didn't know what PEX water line was. I never heard of it. I didn't know how to rough in electrical. I didn't know how to pour concrete. I've never handled a nail gun before. You just learn. You just go one step at a time. And if you get in trouble and you get, oh, I don't know how this is going to work or whatever, well, then you ask those that know. From breaking ground to moving in, a 2,000 square foot house, it took me 14 and a half months to build that thing. It was kind of my dream house. Had big windows overlooking the valley, had a big deck on the back where I had a little fire pit. Plenty of land for a hillside property. But I know how to build a house. It was just a dream of mine. And I just started one step at a time. I refused and refuse to shut down the dream factory. If in my early 20s, in my mid 20s, in my 30s, if I would have said, this is my lot in life, I'm just going to go to work, I'm going to become a paycheck, I'm going to just move forward in my job, and maybe I'll advance a little bit, maybe I won't, maybe I'll get a raise that I deserve, I would have never built a house in Alaska. I would have never moved to Alaska. I would have never got the education I have. I would have never done most of the things that I've done. And I want to challenge you. I want to encourage you. I want to motivate you. You've got something inside of you that only you can offer this world in the way that you can offer it. I don't know what that is. You might not know what that is. But I want to encourage you just to start thinking in that direction. And again, like the guy on the CD that I was listening to, waiting for my son to get out of preschool. I don't care if you're 40. I don't care if you're 20. I don't care if you're 60, 80. You got something to offer. You got something to offer this world in the way that only you can offer it. Maybe that's a book. Maybe that's a story. Maybe that's a song. I tell you what, if you crank up that dream factory again, if you dust off the gears, if you put some oil in the bearings, if you start that thing up, yeah, it's going to choke and it's going to smoke and it's going to spit and it's going to sputter. And there'll be other people that have their dream factories. They've been shut down and cold for a long time. And they will throw things at you that will put that fear back in you. And I'm telling you, please don't listen to them. They probably mean well. They probably do. Because they're worried about you, right? They care about you. They don't want to see you get hurt. They don't want to see you, fail. Ugh. So sometimes people will say, oh, have you thought about this? Oh, I don't know about that. Love them, but don't listen to them. Love them, but don't listen to them. You move forward. You take that dream, that idea. Don't worry about 30 steps ahead. What's your next step? If you've already gone steps 1 and 2 and maybe you got stuck, well, a good way to get unstuck is talk to people who have been around that thing, whatever you're doing, in that area of whatever you're dreaming about. You do that, and your dream factory will start to spit and sputter, and then it'll start running, and it'll run even smoother and smoother and smoother and smoother, and all of a sudden, those same people that are saying, oh, I don't know about that, they're going to say, whoa, look at him go. Look at him go. Look at her go. We never thought she could do that. We never thought she could accomplish that. Oh, thank goodness she didn't listen to us. So I want to encourage you to restart that dream factory. What's your next step? Get in front of the people that might know what your next step is and offer this world something that's inside of you that only you can offer it in the way that you can. Hey, thanks for listening. I appreciate you listening. Again, if you want to go to my website, rodneymaywander.com. My email is the same thing, rodneymaywander@gmail. You're welcome to throw me a line. I'd be happy to chat with whoever via email or whatever. And God bless you. And I hope you have a great evening and a great day wherever you're at.